Okay, so we had a little bit of technical difficulties there for a moment, but it looks like it's working again. So thank you for hanging around, my friends. Thank you for allowing me that short break. Got some coffee, and I am ready to go. Boat Ladder, welcome in. Great to see you. You're just in time for Super C. I'm sorry to tell you missed our Scooby Doo for tonight, but you didn't miss much. You missed a lot. You missed a lot of me crashing into trees on a ski slope. Is most of what you missed there. But you're just in time for Super C and a new challenge. So if you're unfamiliar with our Super C, I've completed 2 deathless runs so far. We had any percent, just beating the game any old way. Did it in 1 life, and then I've got another deathless run of a low percent, which was no items, absolutely no power-ups, pea shooter only, and we finally pulled that off last Friday. It was fantastic. I've been working on that for forever. So now we're going to start the last challenge, which is the 100%. I must grab every item in the game and hopefully not die. The deathless part's going to come in much later because this is a challenge. I just need to play the game a little bit and practice getting the items as it is. It's going to be a completely new challenge for me, so it's going to be a lot of just kind of getting used to the run tonight. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on it for about an hour and change. I don't want to spend too much time on it because we also want to play some Pikmin 2 tonight. So a little bit of Super C and then hopefully a nice chunk of progress in Pikmin 2. So let's just jump in. I'm not even going to run the timer on this first run. After we got the deathless run on Friday, we did sort of do a victory lap where I just I played until my first death, getting all the power-ups just to see what it's like and to sample it. And we made it to stage 5 on my first attempt. It was really something else. I did not expect to make it anywhere near that far. So we started off really well. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful to be able to use power-ups again. Sometimes we get multiple power-ups on the screen at once. In general, I'm going to lean toward picking them up in the order that they come onto the screen, but I'm not going to be real picky about it. As long as I do pick everything up, then it's no big deal what order I grab things in. And in addition to that, though, I'm also not going to try to manipulate things. Like if there's an area where 2 powers show up at roughly the same time, and I know one is better than the other, I'm not necessarily going to try to grab the worst power first to preserve the better one if the better one comes in before the worst one. I'm gonna sort of loosely attempt to preserve the order that they enter the screen, but I'm not going to be picky about it. This message is highlighted for your viewing pleasure. I'm not going to be extremely picky about my extremely picky rules. You caught me. You caught me. I can't be anything aside from what I am. So far, we've gotten all the power-ups, so that's good. If my choices are take a death or miss a power-up, at this stage, I'd rather die than miss a power-up. No, both things are certain to happen several times, but yeah. My preference is to get all the power-ups no matter what, even if I have to lose a few lives. This laser makes things really difficult. My thought is that we'll beat the game maybe 3 times. Maybe only 2, but I think we can do it 3. Because if I'm able to pick up power-ups, then I'm going to do it... I should be doing it a little bit faster than normal, so I kind of think 3 passes through the game is pretty reasonable. Ooh, I almost missed that one. Oh, it's another laser. Oh, and I died. I'm not used to fighting that machine up close. I figured with the machine gun, I could probably afford to get real close to it. Where I was pretty much always afraid to do that with the pea shooter. Making it to level 5 on our first try the other night. On one hand, it's a good thing because like it's really motivational to start off doing that well. But on the other hand, it's really bad because it's going to be a lot of attempts before I match that PB. Pookie says, I've returned. With no wall meat? Oh no. Well, at least this game has no food in it, so you don't have to be reminded. You don't have to be reminded of your situation by having the stream on. Hey, Famous Retro God, thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream, by the way. Sorry it took me a moment to catch that, but I really appreciate having you with us. I had fajitas again tonight for dinner. Oh, they're wonderful. With garlic and onion, bell peppers, chicken, and spinach. With a variety of southwestern sort of seasonings. And a squeeze of lime juice in a fresh tortilla. Unbelievably good. It's one of my favorite things to make, because it's one of my favorite things to eat. Is this a blind run? No, I've played this. I've played this before. I'm really familiar with Super C. If you mean if I have I done any like research into like strats and stuff like that though, no. I don't look into. I only play with casual strats that I figure out myself. I try very hard to avoid like looking into like the ways that other people play games that I want to do challenges for, because I feel like that kind of robs me of something if I spoil things like that for myself. So it's blind in the sense that I'm only using my own hard-won knowledge of the game to play it, but it's not blind as in this is a first playthrough. Not at all. I've played Super C hundreds of times. I'm just trying to do different challenge runs through the game at this point. I've already done it deathless, and I've done it deathless pea shooter only. And so, oh no, I missed those 2 power-ups. Rip the run. Now I'm trying to do it where I have to pick up all the power-ups. I was letting my mind wander, and I forgot to pick those up. So, I mean, this is just exploration and practice right now. It's not even a serious run, but I still feel bad about that. So yeah, if I were trying the run for real right now, I'd have to reset since I missed those. Yeah, the deathless pea shooter run was really difficult. Oh, I missed another power up. That's 3. I missed 3. Okay, should be 4 bubbles to the right, then 4 across the middle. There's 4 to the right. No. 4 across the middle, and middle and sides. Middle, side, side. Final Fantasy 15 is horrible if you're hungry. Oh, I have to fight this with a pea shooter again. I've the three challenge runs that I'm doing for Super C, you know, well, 2 of them already done, and this being the 3rd. The same 3 challenge runs I've already done through the original Contra. And there's so far the only 2 games I've played in the series. I have most of the other games in the series. I already have copies of them, but I'm holding off on playing them because I wanted to focus on doing these challenges first and kind of work my way slowly through the series. Significant Night. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well on this Monday/Tuesday. So, Stage 5, I died right at the beginning of Stage 5 on our victory lap run. So, from here on out, like, the all powers sort of route is new to me. I have a general idea of where all the power-ups are since I've had to avoid them for so long, but kind of only a general idea for a lot of them. And most of them I know where... So the thing is, I know where the power-ups are, but I don't know what they are. Like, I know where capsules come flying through, but I have no idea what's going to be in those capsules. Gonna head to sleep, friend. Keep rocking the awesome runs. Hey, thank you for joining us. Gold Member Arcade, thank you again for the follow. And I hope we get to enjoy your company again, my friend. Whoa. This boss... I'm probably getting myself in trouble saying this, but this boss is so much easier with the spread gun. It's been so long since I've been able to fight him like that. Thank you. I look forward to it. I look forward to it, my friend. Have a great night. So we're not going to keep this spread gun for long, yeah, because there's... Alright, machine gun's not bad. F weapon is pretty not good, though. The F weapon isn't terrible. The F weapon is so much better in Super C than it is in Contra. In fact, I think the first time we did the Deathless run for Super C, the first time I made it, was because I switched to using the F weapon on the last level. I was having a lot of trouble with Stage 8 before I switched to F, and it kind of changed things for me, so I owe it a debt of gratitude. Okay, laser, but immediate spread, that's nice. Screen wipe. Don't die. No! I didn't get killed by the one I was worried about, and then I get killed the one I wasn't worried about. I feel very odd that I said killed to instead of killed by. Alright, stage 7, the thing I know about this is that most of the power-ups come in pairs. Guess that was an R. So I need to be ready to get 2 of them at a time every time they come in. I think there's one single power-up right before the breakable blocks. And the worst thing is there are 2 power-ups. There are 2 power-ups that come during the breakable blocks. Oh. Oh no. And why'd it have to be a laser? That's gonna make this real hard. Okay, machine gun and F weapon. I think I need to move over one. Yeah. This is so weird. Okay, there are 2 more power-ups down here. Yes! Alright, great. And one of them was the spread gun. Awesome. I'm just thinking of all the times I suffered here with the scorpions when I had only the pea shooter. Getting through those scorpions was such a consistent nightmare. And now it's just so easy. You remove the pleasures of life for just a little while, and you really appreciate them when you get them back. A little bit of going without can really make you grateful, you know? I will never not appreciate the spread gun again. This power-up is... yeah. Ooh, spread gun is going to be tricky to get, I was thinking. It really wasn't that bad. Laser... Alright, that's the last power-up in the game. We didn't get them all, though. I missed 3 along the way, so... that's not great. It's kind of like the situation with Contra, though. If I don't miss a power-up, we sort of automatically get a 1 credit clear in the challenge, because it's very unlikely that I'm going to lose enough lives to have to use a continue when we get to use power-ups. By no means is it impossible, but it's unlikely. I like kind of running and facing downward and just creating a wall of fire in front of me as I move. It's not as good as just firing straight, like, in the way. Like, that's a better wall of fire as I run, but this is a more fun wall of fire. I was playing around and let the enemy kill me while I was spawning. I forgot he could do that. Well, it's a good thing I've remembered now rather than when we were on a real run. Alright, but that's it. That's one, you know, that's one pass. That's sort of a good warm-up. We learned where a lot of stuff is and what a lot of that stuff is. We'll enjoy the credit roll, and then we'll do it again and try and do it better. Found super wall meat. Pookie says, cheddar jalapeno brats. Nice. I hope they are as delicious as they sound, Pookie. We've been upside down for more than long enough. Right, and we try again. We need every power-up. Don't lose sight of that goal. I thought I was going to run into that guy. So I only put this game on the schedule for tonight and for Friday, but we may do it on some other weeknights, depending on how the night's going. Particularly if we finish a game kind of earlier than I expected. Like, I don't think this will happen, but next stream, like if we play Scooby-Doo at the beginning of the stream and I finish it after like 30 minutes, then I'll throw on some Super C before we move on to Crystallis. Or, you know, the same thing happens, like if it's most of the way through the night, but like we play Scooby-Doo for a few hours and I put on Crystallis and finish it in like 30 minutes and we've got more time left. Super C is what we'll use to fill in. What we'll use to fill in sort of gaps like that. That way I can hopefully keep in practice with it. I think we're going to get this challenge taken care of pretty quickly. I know I said that about Contra, and it took about a month for the maybe more. I don't remember the all powers run in Contra. I know it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but I also think that run is a lot harder in Contra than it is in this because of all those behind the back stages. Since this one doesn't have any of those, I think this is going to be ultimately a much easier challenge. Though it very well could make a fool of me. The laser is strong. There is that. With the RNG of the mouths, I consider this harder, but that's only one part. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I feel like when I fail this challenge, I'm probably gonna have a lot more times where I fail this challenge where I feel like it's not really my fault because of those mouths. They can very easily ruin your night. Well, night ruined. Missed a power-up. Rip the run. Oh, and then I died, too. Awful. It's alright. We're just starting. It's a new challenge. It's okay. Keep telling yourself it's okay, Frownie. Okay, a little bit more careful about the way I fight this guy, maybe. This is a good place to stand. Yeah, that went pretty well. I just wanted to take a moment to sort of watch how the laser behaved. I didn't really learn anything, though. Those brats are good. Landlord's gonna be angry when he sees how many walls I had to knock out to find them. It's okay, that's what your security deposit's for. I was in college. I had this art teacher named Steve. He was a really kind of a bizarre guy. And the story probably isn't true, but he was telling us once that he had spilled a bunch of epoxy resin into his kitchen sink when it was full of dirty dishes, and he didn't clean it up, and they all hardened into place. And then rather than deal with it, he just moved out. I missed those same power-ups. I was talking again on the same spot, not paying attention to what I was doing again, and missed the same power-ups. He's the kind of guy, though, I would believe that story would be true, but I would believe that of him because he is a very odd guy, but I don't know. We'd go to class. The thing was, I'd go to class and the entire lecture, like, he would never tell us anything useful at all. They were the most useless lectures where he would just sit for an hour and a half and tell us about what he'd watched on TV the night before. And one day he spent the entire lecture just summarizing a documentary on piranhas that he had watched the night before. And how he was, like, fascinated. He's like, the piranhas, it's not like Indiana Jones where you fall into the lake and they swarm around you and instantly eat you down to the bone. It's like, it's a slow process when a piranha eats something. And talked about, like, cows going into the lake to cool off and piranhas eating their legs or something. Some days he just wouldn't tell us anything. He'd just take us down to his workshop and show us what he's working on. And like his big, like, I don't know, his big project was that he liked to make things out of metal that are not like supposed to be made out of metal. Like he had a t-shirt that he had cast in metal that he was really proud of. Because, like, he'd captured all the folds and stuff like this. And, I mean, like, it looked cool, but, I mean, it was, you know, it was a metal t-shirt. It's like, okay. But then... So we never had any assignments in the class. We never had any homework. We never had any reading material. There was no textbook for the class. We had exactly one assignment the entire year, and the assignment was to find a picture of a horse. And he said any picture, it could be a painting or a drawing or a photograph, any picture of a horse. Just find a horse, and I want you to describe the horse to me in 1,000 words or something. Those little blue books where you used to like write your essays during exams. He wanted us to get one of those and to fill it up with a description of the horse. And he said, like, if you don't know what to write, he said, you can just begin, Dear Santa, I want a horse. The horse I want looks like this, and then describe the horse. And that's all we had to do. And that was worth 3 credit hours. That's amazing. But you won't even believe though, because like that's not the really amazing one. Jelly has the really amazing story because she had the same teacher the next year. And it was the same situation. His class was the same non-class, but they had a slightly different and much more awesome final project. I could have pulled out an old letter I'd written to Santa. Pretty sure I asked for horses before. It probably would have counted, too. I don't see why it wouldn't have. I don't see why I wouldn't have. So Jelly had the same assignment, except I don't remember what she had to write about. But she had the same project where you had one writing assignment and you had to fill in one of those little blue notebooks. I think they're the same at most colleges. They're just a little flimsy, like handmade with a staple kind of notebook. Not even to the size of a composition book. But, and ours had blue covers. But it was the same assignment. You had to fill up one of those, but there was a mandate you had to write in blue ink. And he said, I don't care what you write. Just write whatever you want. But you have to fill up the whole book, and you have to write in blue ink, and only blue ink. And then what he did... You're not going to believe it. What he did was he took everyone's blue notebooks at the end of the year, and he chopped them up and like blended them up with water or something, and he turned them into one giant sheet of paper. He didn't even read anything they had written. He just took them and he like recycled them into one giant sheet of paper, and he folded it up and he stuck it inside a metal envelope that he had cast, and he threw it into the river. And that was the class. And everyone got 3 credit hours. I love how unhinged this professor is. I mean, he seemed like a normal enough guy, but I don't know. It was a weird experience. A lot of the class never bothered to show up because, he didn't exactly keep records of attendance and stuff like that. But I showed up to every class because I wanted to hear what he'd been watching on TV every day. It was just one of those guys. It was interesting to listen to him talk. And always about nothing. You have to shake up the assignments. Can't have people cheating. Oh, that's good. I'm not getting very good practice here. I promise I'm gonna focus on our next run. I would have showed up too. Sounds fascinating. It made for an interesting time. No. The spread guns made me so confident that I take risks that I don't need to take anymore. I'm now taking risks that I don't need to take, that I wouldn't have used to. Because some of those eggs that you can destroy from the floor above where it's more safe. I'm just jumping down there and fighting them on the same floor now, instead of taking the safe route. The spread gun has given me confidence. Um... I had a college psych teacher, Pookie says, that wrote out a test on several whiteboards in the room out of order and had us answer the questions. Once the questions were done, he had someone volunteer, and then that person threw all the papers in the trash. I wish he would have told her to rip them up first. Everyone got an A for participating, but the point was we had a conversation about the feeling everyone had while taking it. I lulled a couple of times, so I was one of the few people that appreciated the absurdity even before the punchline. I spawned a power-up and never picked it up. Doing so bad. We might actually even game over. I'm doing so bad. I like to think that that would have been something I would have been amused and gone along with too. No. Alright, I really, really do have to focus now, or we're actually going to see the game over screen. Solitaire, welcome in. Is this Contra or Aliens? It can be hard to tell, right? But I'm sure, I know that Konami would assure you that they are creatively and, more importantly, legally completely distinct. Any similarity that you may imagine is only imagined. Psych teacher is one of the best teachers I had. Tried to look up records of who he was after the fact, but the college I went to only kept track of the courses and not the teachers, which seems so messed up. All right. That was a pretty bad pass. I have to be honest. That was a pretty bad pass through the game. I was playing much too casually for what we're supposed to be doing. That was not in the spirit of how we're supposed to be playing this at all. I'm gonna do one more run, and I'm gonna try and take it real seriously. And then after that, we're gonna move over to Pikmin. What we're doing for anyone who's just come in is I'm supposed to be practicing for a deathless run that is that where all items are mandatory. I have to beat the game one life and make sure I don't miss any of the items. I've already done any percent deathless, and I've done a no items deathless. So this is the last challenge run of the 3 that I wanna accomplish. This is our first night. This is our first night really sort of practicing this run. So I don't expect to do particularly well, but I know I can do better than I've been doing. What are you doing, Frownie? This isn't art class. Hey, we got some friends showing up. Hey Sven, welcome in. Thank you for the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome to you and welcome to your friends. You're here. We're working on a new Super C project tonight. I'm trying to. Well, I'm practicing for what will ultimately be a deathless run, where all items are mandatory. I've done deathless any percent. I've done deathless no items. The next challenge is to do deathless all items. But this is my first night even sort of investigating what the all items path looks like, so it's pretty rough. Yeah, deathless is a ways off. We're gathering information and practicing right now. No serious attempts yet. But welcome in. I hope you had a good stream, my friend, and I would encourage everyone to take a moment to use that link in the shout out there to give Sven a follow. You can enjoy plenty of retro content over there. So what were you up to? Let us know what you were up to tonight, though, and how'd your stream go? All right, I'm gonna pause. The timer isn't running. I can pause. Is that Gurkster? Welcome in. Pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for coming along. And let's see, you guys were playing retro. That doesn't shed any light on the situation for me. First playthrough of Brandish 2 on SNES. What is that? Is that a RPG of sorts? That'd be my guess. I don't know anything about it. Just beat Super C for the first time last week. Great game. I love Super C. Super C is wonderful. I like it better than the original Contra. Thank you for not pronouncing it, Jerkster. No problem. Gives me a follow. Done. I'm going to go click that button a second time. Streamer told me to hit the button. I had to unfollow. Oh no, what have I done? Paradoxical. Welcome in. So Japanese only release on Super Famicom, playing a fan translation. Right on. RPGs. I am woefully ignorant of RPGs. The only ones I've ever finished are Pokemon Blue and Paper Mario. And I guess Pokemon Arceus, too. I did play enough of that to consider myself having finished it, I think. I didn't 100% it, but we got basically as close as I could get. It's a great RPG. You enjoy the bullet hell games? I guess I do. I never really thought of them as... Never really thought of... No! See, now this would be a dead run because I missed a power-up. Well, that's alright. We're not doing serious runs. I'm supposed to be taking it seriously and, you know, practicing, but mistakes are gonna happen. Mistakes are going to happen when you pick up the L, that is for sure. People keep telling me to play any Pokemon game. I've never tried one. I liked Arceus quite a bit. I don't know what its reputation among Pokemon fans in general is, but I had a really good time with it. It's way too talky. That's my only problem. That's the thing that kind of puts me off of RPGs, I think. That's one of the troubles that I have with them, is they're so story heavy. And I don't really like I really don't like to play games with a lot of talkiness to them. I don't need really a whole lot of story. Basically, if a game starts with an arrow that points, you know, go to the right, then that's basically enough story for me. All I need is an excuse to run to the right. I'm doing so bad. Young Merlin was a really good retro RPG if normal RPGs aren't your style. I do kind of like action RPGs. Like I've been playing Crystalis on the NES, and that's more of an action RPG, kind of in the style I think of the Mana games. I've only played the first Mana game, Final Fantasy Adventure. I liked that game. That one was fun. So I kind of like action RPGs more. I think Crystalis is a really fun. I'm having a wonderful time with Crystalis. But Young Merlin. Actually, I've got another. There we go. What is Young Merlin an SNES game too? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the. Just like in competitive sports, the L is not what you're looking for. Laser is a pretty ridiculous hitbox. The laser's not as terrible as it could be. I like the laser better than the F weapon from the first Contra. Hey, Opie Kimbo is here. Welcome to the stream, Opie. Thank you for joining us. I'm really behind on the chat, trying to catch up with folks here. That's why we're sort of paused for the moment. Never release right. F in chat for running. I'd rather fly to the right. Any reason to go to the right, I guess. I hated it. You hate the spider boss? I love the spider boss. I think the spider boss is fascinating. Yeah, no problem, Pookie. Thank you for sharing. That is kind of a lot to read out loud. I think I'll just absorb it. But it's no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing with us. One looks cool, but I haven't tried it much yet. Unless you're playing a vertical shooter. I remember Crystalis. The fade out to white screen it had would always put my TV on the fritz for some reason when I was a kid. Young Merlin is SNES. Okay, cool. I'm gonna write that down. I'm not gonna, I'm not making any promises to check it out to check it out in any timely manner, but I do keep a post-it note of games that people mention to me. The fireball. Yeah, the fireball in Contra is terrible. It's much better in this game. Much better. How's Contra going for that speed run? Well, this is super C, right? So, no speed runs here yet. To be clear, I don't speed run Contra. Just so, but I was saying the other day about how I've completed a lot of challenge runs through Contra, and basically learning the speed run is kind of all I have left to do in that game. Couldn't figure out how to get off of the spider without dying. Understandable. It's You do have to kind of jump at just the right time and just the right place. But I just think it's interesting that his safe spot's on top of his head. I like the spider because I think the fight's really interesting. Most of the bosses in Contra and Super C, as much as I love these games, most of the bosses are pretty terrible. Especially in this one, in the last 3 levels, the bosses are all really nothing fights for the most part. Oh no, I know you. Sorry, I know you know OP. I just wanted to. I didn't want to give anyone else the impression that I was a Contra speedrunner. Didn't want anyone to think they'd fallen behind on the Frownie lore. Okay, I've missed these 2 power-ups every time this night. There we go. Alright, so no matter how bad everything else might go, I can feel good that at least I remembered those 2 power-ups that I keep forgetting. From what I can tell, weirdly enough from what I can tell, 100% does not seem to be an actual speedrun category for Contra or Super C, and I don't really understand why. Okay, middle wide. I think the next ones are on the right. Then the middle. Then 4 to the right. 4 across the middle. And middle and sides. Perfect. I gotta talk to myself about where the bubbles are. Otherwise I forget their pattern. It took me an embarrassing amount of time to realize that the optimal way to fight this guy was from the inside out. I don't know how many times I beat this game, like maybe 200 before I realized that. I'm a very slow learner. Oh, come on. No, don't let it get away. This is the best boss in the game. Fighting him with the spread gun kind of trivializes him, but fighting that boss with the pea shooter, that is one intense battle. Highly recommended. The best part of the no items run is that boss fight. It is. It's so. It is. It is spooky scary. All right. This part's tough because there's items that I want to get and mouths I want to avoid. Hey, we're getting pretty lucky. Nice. After that boss, though, like I said, the bosses all get really easy. 6, 7, and 8 all have bosses that are mostly just stand in place and fire. Oh no, I died. He heard me talking about how easy he is. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've died to the level 6 boss. That's pretty sad. So nice to just be able to hold a button. This is one of the worst parts right here for the all items run. Getting both of these. I can get both of them, but it's really tough, and especially when you have to do it with the laser. Ugh. It's disgusting. I think maybe I should approach this from the right-hand side. Might make that easier. Oh, no. There's some of that foolishness I was talking about. How did I miss that scorpion on the right? You can fight a lot of those eggs from the floor above and be safe, but when I have the spread gun, I don't want to do that. I like to go down there and challenge them, even though it's not really in my best interest. See, this boss is really just stand in place and fire, too. You have to move around a little bit, but not a whole lot. Stage 8. I need that M. You have the spread gun there, and then immediately you have to pick up the laser. It's heartbreaking. And all items contra NES run sounds pretty fantastic, actually. Welcome in, Vance Velez. I was enjoying Vance's stream earlier today. All kinds of amazing achievements. So what was that first game? Rival Turf? A no-death run through Rival Turf, and a 1-credit clear Castlevania 3. Killer achievements. So all items contra I have done. All items Super C. That's our next destination. All items contra is tough. The behind the back stages make all items contra tough. All items Super C I think is gonna be okay. I haven't done very well at it tonight, but I mean it's just the first night. I keep missing some of the items, unfortunately. When I get a run where I don't miss any of the items, after I do that for the first time, it'll be time to like start doing serious runs. Wow, look at that boss. The boss is so easy with the fire weapon. I cannot believe it. Would be nice to have a run where I can use S again, if only for a moment. That part in Area 7 looks really tricky with the egg sacs, the scorpions. Getting through the scorpions with the pea shooter is a nightmare. Yeah, I've definitely missed my items. It's nice. It's nice to be able to use them again. All right, my friends. So that's actually going to conclude our Super C practice for tonight, though. We did 3 runs through it. None of them were great, but that like I said, that's okay. It's our first night with this challenge, so it's okay if they're not great runs. We'll polish them up as we go. The next time I have Super C scheduled for is for Friday night stream, though I am going to use it as the sort of filler. Uh, Anytime we finish a game somewhat earlier than expected, so there is a chance that we could pick it up at pretty much any time if a game wraps up. Again, sort of somewhat unexpectedly, then I'm going to throw Super C on for a while. But definitely we'll play it again on Friday, and keep working. Once we get any run that makes it with all the items, then we'll start grinding for a deathless. Easing back into it. Well, I mean, I'm not really, because we just did the no items deathless run on Friday, so I haven't been away from it, but I guess I am easing back into to actually being able to use power ups again. So I guess I am easing into it from that perspective. There you go, easing back into items. Oh, they're so wonderful. They're so wonderful. Like I was saying, if you you do a couple runs through these games with no items, and it really gives you a new appreciation for them. You'll never take the spread gun for granted again, I promise. So we're going to move along to the GameCube now. The last thing we're going to work on for tonight is Pikmin 2. We've been playing Pikmin 2 for quite a while. I'm pretty far along in the game now. So it's getting pretty hard, and I'm not very good at it. So there are going to be some moments of intense drama tonight in Pikmin. We may lose many friends, but we're gonna hope for victory. Fingers crossed, right? So thank you for enjoying Super C with me, everybody. Thank you for coming along for the practice. And like I said, we'll pick it up again. I think we're gonna get this run taken care of pretty quickly. I think once I start actually getting all the items, then I think the deathless run's gonna come fairly quickly. A lot quicker than the no items run did, anyway. So Super C won't be with us much longer, unfortunately, but it's okay, because I've got a lot of other Contra games that I've never played that, conquering Super C, our ability to play these other games depends on it. So it'll be nice to have it done. But yeah, if you want to join me for Pikmin, just stand around a moment. I'm just going to switch the consoles over. Take a very short BRB while I do that. And I'll see you again in just a moment, my friends.